With the official fall launch of Darktide now just around the corner, this is the perfect time to cover all of the advanced tips that are going to have you sailing through the hardest difficulties, like the absolute heresy purging, giga cracked, ultra jack chad that you are. I spent about 120 hours in the open beta, basically breezing through all of the hardest content, implementing the tips that I'm now about to give you. This is kind of a full circle thing, so make sure you at least touch on each of the points in this video, as you don't want to be doing one thing without actually understanding why it's good to do it. And starting with the first one, and this is probably going to upset a few people, but the team class composition doesn't matter. This means that you can go 4 veteran sharpshooters, 4 zealots, 4 ogrins, really whatever you want to play. The reason I say this is because what is important is people picking and fulfilling a particular role within the team. So you want somebody who is there to kill elites, for example. Somebody who's going to just hard focus on the specials and elites as they spawn to make sure that they can't come in and disrupt the team while they're dealing with a horde or dealing with an objective. You then also want somebody who is there for creating space and controlling hordes. So think of this as like your tank, for example. The other 2 players in the team can kind of alternate to fulfill a support for either role. You know, if there's a lot of specials and elites up, then perhaps they can go and, you know, concentrate on that. Or if there's just a huge volume of enemies, they can come in and help control that. Now, I'm not saying this is the sole purpose of those 2 players to be just the tank or just the special killer. However, you want to have them primarily focusing on those things at any one time. But it is important that everybody can be flexible, but you definitely need to have these 2 people in your squad, otherwise you're going to find yourself overwhelmed a ginormous amount of the time. Then in respects to that, you want to make sure you build your loadout and your talents around that particular role. So if you are going to be in the front line, focus on having things that increase your ability to crowd control and survive. And if you are going to be the special killer, you want something that's going to allow you to maintain that high damage output. Another thing you're going to want to manage is your ammo and grenade supplies. This is really easy to do. Just don't take ammo without asking if anyone else is low, or just use the UI to see if anyone's ammo indication is orange or red before taking it. Same for grenades. Make sure everybody has grenades. It is very hard to overestimate how powerful grenades are when used in the right situations. Take the Zealot Stun Grenade, for example. This is one of the best tools in the game for rezzing someone during a high intensity situation. The next thing you want to be doing in every high level game is making sure that you are sticking within coherency range. With every class providing some sort of bonus to anyone near them, having all 4 of these active at any one time is a substantial boost to everybody's damage and survivability. You could say that this tip is, in a nutshell, just don't run away from your team, which by itself is also just a really good thing to get in the habit of not doing, as the game will actively seek out people that are split apart from the team and try and kill them. Another thing you don't want to do is hang around in areas for too long within a mission. The game will detect that you're standing around and just send hordes after hordes after hordes of enemies at you to try and get you out of there. So even though you don't want to be rushing through the level at full speed for much the same reason, it's very important to keep a nice smooth pace of moving forward, otherwise you are going to get punished really hard for not doing that. And like with any game, it's very good to work out all of this strategy beforehand. Now, one of the best tips I think I can give people is just to have a shot caller. Somebody that's in charge of deciding where we're going to stand, when we're going to move, you know, what the priority targets are during a match. Now, everybody can actually contribute to this. It doesn't necessarily have to be one person, but it does help when somebody says, like, let's sit in this corner or let's take these stairs, and gets the group together to handle a tense situation. This can be, again, the difference between being able to clear every hard mission without fail or just dying to the first, you know, tricky situation you get into. So this kind of falls into my next tip as well, which is just use the tagging system. It blows my mind how few people tag specials and elites. So they may see this poxwalker running up behind you ready to one-tap your ass into oblivion and say nothing to you. And this is one of the most annoying things to happen. It may not necessarily cause a game to be a complete wipe, but it's very annoying when people don't, you know, call out special spawns or at least tag them so that you know that they're coming. The next thing you want to do is respect ranged damage. These las gunners will melt you in seconds. They do not mess around and you can die very quickly if you're caught without cover. Now, zealots and ogrins can actually take advantage of being very aggressive and charging into the groups before they spread out and start shooting you from all different directions. But if this has already happened, you may find yourself playing those classes and hiding behind pillars, waiting for the sharpshooters and the psychers to kill them all for you. It's an unfortunate side effect of being the best class in the game, the zealot preacher, but it's something to be aware of. Don't be greedy, respect the damage, because these guys will definitely kill you a whole bunch. And much to the same token, respect natural counters to your build. Now, I'm a zealot main, and one of my natural counters are the Ragers. They are unrelenting lunatics that cannot be staggered, pushed off, or just you can't get them away from you, and they will just absolutely wreck you in seconds if you don't make some distance between yourself and them. When you come up against a large group of Ragers, best thing you can do, make some distance and pop out a ranged gun. My go-to is the bolt gun. This is an anti-elite killer and it will just melt everything in front of you, but it's a very niche type situation weapon to use. So, you know, again, my build, I've naturally countered my natural counter this way, but just be aware of these certain situations that your class can get into and have an answer for them. And don't be afraid to ask for help. If you can't deal with it, make sure your team know, like, damn dude, there's about 100 Ragers on me, somebody help. You know, and if they're a good team, they're gonna try and help. Don't just dodge, because sometimes pushing can be so much more effective, and this is especially true for a majority of the special units in the game. So for example, if a dog is jumping at you, push it. Rather than just dodging it and allowing it to fly off into the map somewhere, which they often do, if you push it, you stagger it mid-air and it will drop down right in front of you, ripe for killing. And killing those things as fast as possible is just the best, because they are super duper annoying. And this actually goes for poxwalkers as well. You know, like the kamikaze mutants that just run at you and explode. If you push one of those as they're jumping at you, it creates enough distance to keep you safe from the explosion. This is one of the biggest clutches that you can make and is way more effective than dodging, because the dodge, you're still going to get hit. So try and implement pushing a lot more into your mechanics and you're going to stay alive a lot more. You should also not shy away from using the environment. Barrels are a very obvious source of great CC and high damage that are all over the map and there for you to take advantage of. So make sure you're using those in the situations in which they're good to use. Don't kill your teammates with them. That's not good. And also take advantage of ledges. Jumping down a ledge is going to create a lot of space between you and any enemies chasing you, as they are much slower traversing multiple layers of the map than you are. So if you run up a set of stairs and jump over the railing, you can create a huge amount of space between you and the people that are chasing you, which can sometimes be the difference in whether or not you're going to survive a certain situation. And the last one I want to leave you with is always check your back. This game has a just magical way of getting enemies behind you, so get in the habit of checking behind you after every kill. If there are tips that you think are important that you want to share with people, please leave them down in the comments below. For the sake of this video not being like 40 minutes long, I didn't want to cover stuff that I considered like intermediate, like how to dodge, when to use ranged weapons and stuff like that. If you would like that video, I'm more than happy to make it. Just let me know by subscribing and liking this video. Obviously, the support is massively appreciated. And until next time, yeah, I'll see you later.